Shalom, Apostle, coming back at you once again, giving all praise to Yahawah, Yahawashi, Rakakwadash. And I'm going to entitle this video 13 Major Protests Going On Around the World. And this is based upon an article. And I was just watching Barack out of LA GMS out there in the West. And I was listening, so I put in major, I think I put in protests around the world. And I don't know if he's reading the same exact story or something similar, because he goes into a lot of the same protests. I don't think he's on the same page. I got to go back to it. But what I did was I put those words in, and this is what popped up. Now, I did a video earlier. I showed a ticket that I got, that you put in the car that's in New York. If you're in New York City, any of the 5 boroughs, if you park, you go to the whatever you call it, the kiosks, whatever you call it. You put a coin in or whatever, and you get a ticket. And you might get 15 minutes here, 10 minutes there. And I did a video. In the title of the video, I said that these protests will come to America soon, but they're already here as in the form of a union protest against GMC, General Motors Company. Anyway, what I'm going to do is, this is prophecy coming to pass, and the same scriptures come up. Just like we go into the mark of the beast, we don't have to hardly even go into the scriptures. We already know the scriptures. We basically quote the scriptures. For example, we go to, when we speak about the mark of the beast, we go into Revelation, the 13th chapter, of course, then the 14th chapter, around about the 9th verse on down, the 15th chapter, the 16th chapter, the 19th, the 20th chapter, and the 19th chapter goes into the mark of the beast. And the mark of the beast is definitely coming. Anyway, before I go into this, the reason why these protests are taking place, they'll say, well, they want the government, the particular government to be kicked out, and new government to be put in their place. But that's not going to work, because the government leaders, they take their marching orders from people over them. So basically, when you kick out one group of puppets, another group of puppets will come in. Now, and it's really about the economy. It's really about economics, because if you had a ruling government that decided to just give everybody, $2,000 a month, you ain't gonna have no people out there marching the streets. It's all about money. The fact that they're taxing the hell out of them, and they're doing it over here in America. But the American people are so fucking stupid and brain numbskulls, that they don't even know what's going on. But the way they do it is like as they say, a frog. You want to cook a frog, you put it in a pot of water, and you make the water room temperature. Then you kind of slowly heat it up, and before the frog knows it, the frog is boiled to death. So that's what they're doing in America. These prices. I'm going to see what's going to happen this Christmas, so-called Christmas season. You're going to have people in the hood buying, because what they're going to do is not pay their rent, not pay certain bills to get toys for their children. That's just the stupid mentality of Jake, the utter mega stupid mentality of Jake. Jake is just, the majority of Jake out there, just forget him. As Elder Abba would say, just forget him. The ones that care, we're only dealing with the elect. Anyway, scriptures that come to mind is Habakkuk 2, which I always quote. If it tarry, wait for it, for it shall surely come, and shall not tarry. And as you read down, in the 2nd chapter, talks about the protests. We all know those scriptures. In the Apocrypha, it says uproars of the people. The scriptures, there's many scriptures that speak about riots. Another scripture that comes to mind is James, the 5th chapter, where the people are finding out that coming against the super rich and the government leaders that that represent them, they're finding out that they're being they pulled a fast one on you. They defrauded you of your money. See, real money and real gold, when you go back to the beginning of time, when you go back to Abraham, when you go back to Egypt, when you go back to the ancient times, we're talking 4,000 or 5,000 years up until this point. Money has always been gold and silver and other things too, and a barter system. Barter system is, I'll give you 100 chickens for a cow, however you want to do it. You know, I'll fix your roof if you fix my tractor. Excuse me. Anyway, I'll read the list. Okay, it says world on fire. Recently, within the last couple of days, 3-4 days, I've been putting up videos. I would put a name of a place and put on fire. The last one I did was called Haiti on fire. Anyway, let me just go through this list real quick. It says world on fire. 13 major protests happening around the globe right now. And this was put up October 3rd, a couple of weeks ago, 2019. So you see there, you can see that they're Chinese police. Riot police stand guard during a demonstration on China's National Day in Makhouk, Hong Kong, China on October of 2019. It says protest can be a powerful political tool for enacting change. Right, and that's why you have revolutions. I'm not going to read all that. I'm just going to jump down. I want to go to the main points. Okay, it goes on to say in Hong Kong, a new extradition law sparked protests back in June. So we're talking about, and it shows you how things are moving fast. It seemed like this whole protest in China happened a couple of weeks ago, but we're talking June, July, August, September. We're talking 4 months ago. But the conflict is escalating. A protester makes suggested during a protest on June 12th in Hong Kong. And it's coming over here in a big way. When they tax you dummies up enough, then they close down more stores and businesses. A criminal code in Indonesia has led to protests against its draconian laws. When you look up the word draconian, it goes back during the time of the Greek rulership, and it was an individual that it was named after this individual, where he made these harsh, strict laws. A student throws a rock during a rally in front of the People's Representative Council building on September 30th, 2019 in Jakarta, Indonesia. Three in the Netherlands. Thousands of Dutch farmers clog highways with their tractors. So it's obviously the farmers are getting ripped off, or whatever the case may be. It said farmers blocked the A28 highway with the tractors between Hogan Hogenvin and Meppel on October 1st, 2019 during a national protest of farmers. I'm not going to go into details. Several protests. Oh, that's the yellow vest protest. Been going on for a year now. A solid year, about a couple of weeks shy of a year. They're not stopping. They're not slowing down. It says several protests are ongoing in France, including demonstrations by Paris police officers. Including demonstrations by Paris police officers, meaning the police officers that's supposed to quell this thing, they're protesting now. And a lot of them are committing suicide. This is called a meltdown. Global meltdown. Like I said, I'm not going to do all that reading. In Russia, thousands gathered to demand the release of protesters who were arrested on charges of rioting. Okay, it says on the bottom, it says protests. This is the same Russian protesters. Protester holds a banner saying, Putin, opinion is not a crime. In a demonstration for the release of the arrested activists during the summer riots in Moscow on September 29, 2019. Peruvian protested the confusion surrounding President Vizcarra's government in the streets of Lima. Let me read some of this. A police barricade at Avenida Abenque is set to prevent the passage of protesters and protect public institutions on October 1st, 2019 in Lima, Peru. It says Peru's President Martin Vizcarra dissolved the country's Congress on Monday after months of efforts to eliminate corruption proved fruitless due to right-wing lawmakers stonewalling new policies. In response, the lawmakers attempt to have Vizcarra removed, naming Vice President Mercedes Arias to take over as president, which this vice president is another puppet. So all you're going to do is you're going to replace one puppet for another. It's unclear whether Vizcarra will remain in office, and the uncertainty has led to mass protests. Protests in the last video I did on the On Fire series was Haiti on Fire. Protesters in Haiti call for resignation of President Jovenel Moise. I hope I'm saying it right. Anyway, they burning shit up. You know, that's Levi. You know, when Levi get riled up. A man uses burning tires to cut off a street to protest against fuel shortages. Okay, either the fuel is too high or there's not enough fuel. So you got fuel shortages. And to demand the resignation of President Jovenel Moise, or whatever his name is, in Port-au-Prince, Haiti on September 20th, 2019. It goes on to read, an already tumultuous Haiti erupted into more violent protests on September 25th. As Ahmed reported for the New York Times, protesters had called for the resignation of President Jovenel Moise. They took to the streets again after he gave a 2 a.m. speech calling for the unity and saying he would not step down. So if he doesn't step down, they're not going to stop. Egypt saw another wave of protest calling for the resignation of authoritarian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. Lebanon is experiencing protests due to its slowing economy. And I did a video called Beirut on Fire. And I don't got to read into it because it's either governmental corruption, shortages of gas, shortages of food, not being paid properly, being overtaxed. You know, when you go into the history of 70 AD, during the time of the Vespasian and Titus, they overtaxed the Israelites. And they were overtaxing pretty much everybody, but you had Jake that said, "No, we ain't paying no more taxes." Syria's Kurdish population is protesting their exclusion from a UN committee. Protests erupt in Iraq against Prime Minister Adel Abdul Mahdi's government. Okay, protests, I'm going to read into this. Protests that broke out on October 1st in Iraq have already left 2 dead, according to the New York Times. In Jerusalem, Palestinians protest, and then you Jakes that are over there in Jerusalem, man, talking about that's your homeland. Ain't your homeland. Your homeland is when the Most High destroys the current place over there in the Middle East and sets up a new one. You're gonna get caught up in this nonsense. In Jerusalem, Palestinian protested the hospitalization of a Palestinian detainee accused of killing an Israeli teenager. Okay, here we are in the U.S. UAW workers have been on strike for 2 weeks in the United States. And you're going to have more strikes, and strikes are going to turn into protests, and protests is going to turn into riots. Global meltdown. And why would they protest? They would protest off of working conditions, and especially wages and benefits. Let me read into this. General Motors members of the United Auto Workers have been on strike for over 2 weeks, marking the longest labor action of its type since 1982. Wow, that's a long time ago. Because things usually get resolved inside of a week. So, you know, hey, like I said, I quoted a handful of scriptures to you. You know, like I said, we go into the mark of the beast. We already know the scriptures. We go into to these protests and riots, and that's all, you know, prophesied in the scriptures. You know, you read 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter, which goes into martial law. I mean, these scriptures are truly coming to light.